We just passed 500,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for all your support. And to celebrate, we let you guys choose a shoe for us to dissect and test and run our super scientific tests on. And you guys chose the Yeezy 750s, which are not cheap. This sticker says 2,500 bucks, but we got it for just over 1,200 bucks. So support this video. It's a pretty expensive one. So we're gonna find out the truth about the Yeezy 750s, answer your guys' questions, and finally see what's on the inside of the Yeezy 750s. I bet you could have guessed, as a leather worker and leather reviewer, I eat an ungodly amount of meat. So ButcherBox is about as perfect of the sponsors we've ever had, because ButcherBox is a company that delivers high quality meats directly to your doorstep. No more searching the grocery store for 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, or wild-caught seafood. And more importantly, no more guessing how old the meat is and if you're gonna get food poisoning with the oddly colored meat with the discount stickers on it. And the nice thing is you can do all the shopping online, and in just a few clicks, your order's set and ready to go. And everything is frozen for freshness and shipped to your front door in an eco-friendly box. And you can update your delivery frequency whenever you need to for those months that the freezer's a little bit full, and you can change or cancel your subscription at any time with no penalties. And I was raised on a family farm with eating the beef that we raised and hunting for a big portion of the meat that we ate growing up and still today. So quality meat matters to me, just like quality leather matters to me. And next to farming and hunting, ButcherBox is about as good as it gets. So check out ButcherBox via the link in my description, and new members receive the free grilling bundle that has 2 10-ounce ribeyes, 5 pounds of chicken drumsticks, and a pack of burgers, all for free with your first order. So check them out below. Thanks again to ButcherBox. So the first thing that we want to test is the quality of this leather, and if it even is leather, because a lot of times they sneak fake leather into these shoes. And the problem with suede is a lot of times suede is just the cheaper cross section of the leather cross section. So usually they cut that top bit off, the really smooth bit that you see on the higher quality leather, put that in the higher quality products, and the suede is left as almost like a byproduct, and it's put in cheaper boots. So the first thing we want to do is see if it's actually real leather by putting it to the flame. And if it starts curling up and acting like a synthetic material, then it is. But this is not doing much of anything actually. So this leather seems to be fairly flame resistant, and it's definitely leather, because if it had any plastic in it whatsoever, it would just start curling up, and here's some examples of what fake leather does. So at least it is real leather, but the next question is, what is the quality of the leather? So it's probably a chrome tan leather, because most sneakers are chrome tan. Let's start dissecting this just a little bit and see if it's truly suede, or if it's a rough out or flesh out leather that still maintains that structural grain pattern. So if you look really close, there's no really tight grain pattern. We'll put an example up here of what that looks like. So this is just a cheap suede, which, you know, this shoe didn't retail for 1,200 bucks. So it's not that out of the ordinary to use suede, especially on sneakers, but it's just definitely not the best quality leather. So a lot of people said that the zipper fails on this thing. So we went the extra mile and put poor Brody's fingers to the test, and he zipped this thing up and down 1,000 times just to see if we get this zipper to fail, because it is a decent quality zipper. It's a YKK zipper. It's not a cheap zipper. And he did it so many times that the zipper actually started heating up because of the friction, and he had to take a break to let it cool down. But by the thousandth zip, he completely worn his finger out, and he has a blister on his finger now from doing it. And the results were that it didn't really fail. And so I don't really know where people are having this fail. I wonder if it's near the bottom here where the zipper is closed up. So what I'm gonna do is just try to get this zipper to rip apart, whether it's through the seam or through the actual zipper itself. So we'll just do a little on-screen pull test. Okay, doesn't want to zip or rip. And then what my guess is most people are having issues when it gets down here. As you're walking around, I think that zipper might slip down, and then all of a sudden your pressure is on the zipper halfway zipped up. So if we do that pull test, ooh. So I think that's where people are finding the problem, because no matter what quality of zipper it is, if you pull hard enough and it's not zipped all the way up, you pull the little teeth off the zipper. And that is why I'm guessing, or where I'm guessing these failed for most people. So really the only way to prevent a zipper from failing on a boot or a shoe is to just not put it on the boot or shoe, because they're terrible. Now to the puncture test, because this outsole is very similar to the 350s, but it's a lot harder. You know, it's a lot harder compound. If we do the durometer test that I'm not prepared for. The durometer on the 750s is 74. The durometer on the 350s, 65. And so we ran the puncture test where we just mount a nail into our arbor press and measure how many pounds it takes to pierce through. Well, the 750s, it took 96 pounds, but surprisingly, the 350s took 92 pounds. So there's really not much of a difference between the puncture resistance of these two shoes. So speaking of the outsole, this has the glow-in-the-dark outsole, and someone wanted to know how long does it actually glow for. So we set it out in the sun, let it charge up, threw it in the black room to see how long it took for the glow-in-the-dark to fade away, and it took about 6 minutes. And I don't know what you'd ever want a glow-in-the-dark outsole for over the age of 12, but it is kind of cool. And it does stay lit fairly well, so now we know. And now for my favorite test, and I think we've improved this test quite a bit because it's the bar drop test where we took that really heavy 40-pound bar, dropped it right on the inside of the shoe to see how far it bounced up and how the shoe reacted. Well, the problem with that, it's hard to get a measurement. So what we did is we took our shoe anvil and put the shoe mounted this way so that as that bar hits the heel, it's a little bit more close to reality of how you're actually gonna be walking when you strike the ground. And it allows us to take a more accurate measurement of how much rebound and how much energy return comes from the bar hitting this. So we rigged this up, dropped the bar from 36 inches, and this thing bounced so high. I think this boost foam actually is a really high energy return material because it bounced 6.75 inches up the first time, and the second drop was 6.5 inches, which is a lot higher than I expected. I thought it was gonna be maybe 2 or 3 inches, kind of like what we saw in the shocks. And we ran a couple other tests to kind of compare them to show you guys, and here are the results of it. So it performed really well against the other shoes, and that's why I think people love this boost foam so much, because it's so comfortable and you get that energy return. And we have another shoe coming up that has some claims about even better energy return that I think you'll like, and that's coming out Monday, a special drop on Monday. So now let's cut this thing in half and really figure out what's on the inside of these shoes and how it's built and how different it is from the 350s. Okay, we got it semi-successfully cut in half. Those laces might have been the hardest laces I've ever cut in half. It's probably because my blade is dull, but they're pretty strong laces. So let's see what's inside. So there's quite a bit of difference between the 750s and the 350s. The 350s have way more boost foam than the 750s. At the ball of your foot, the 350s have twice as much foam. And that's, I think, why these are so much more comfortable in people's opinions, but also the outsole is very different as well, because at the very heel here, on the 350s, it's full of the boost foam. But on the 750s, you've got a big chunk of rubber right there, which I would actually prefer because most people wear their shoes out at the heel, and especially with this boost foam being so soft, as soon as you wear into that boost, your shoes are done. And we saw in the 350 video that it does absorb some water, and it's just not, it's not a great material. It's a terrible outsole material, but a great midsole material. And the interesting thing is there is some decent leather on the inside of here, and it is built, it's almost built like a boot because you have the counter at the heel, and you've got this internal counter cover with a nicer grain leather on the inside. If you look at the 350s, it's built a lot more like a sneaker, less leather, more synthetic materials at the heel. It's made for comfort more than anything. And this seems to be built more for durability. And the leather thicknesses are pretty thick too. 1.8, and one of the coolest things about this is this toe bumper here, it has that rolled edge to make it look really clean, and it would have been just as easy to just roll it and sew it, but it's actually double layered. So that is really surprising, especially for a sneaker. You don't even see that half the time in work boots. This shoe from the outside just looks like kind of a gimmicky, ugly shoe, but it's built really well. And even on the inside, there's a lot of structural design that went into this, because you can see the little hooks, these little loops that the laces go through. They're backed by a piece of material. They're double sewn. They're backed all the way down. All the leather in the upper is backed with the canvas. So looking at this thing now, it is a really impressive shoe, and it would be impressive even for boot standards, for half the boots out on the market. The only thing that really shoots itself in the foot is this zipper, because that completely negates any of the durability that you get from all these higher quality materials. And people were also wondering, what are these tubes, what are these ribs on the outside and at the heel? Well, it looks like it's just a piece of half tubular foam, but all the materials in this shoe, even down to the Velcro, is a higher quality Velcro. And I think the reason that it is a lot higher quality is it's the first sneaker he did with Adidas, and they probably gave him even more free reign and allowed him to do whatever he wanted, because the 750s are different than any of the other Yeezys we've cut apart. And so far, it's by far the highest quality Yeezy we've cut apart. So let me know what you guys think and what you thought of the quality of this boot shoe compared to all the other Yeezys. And thank you guys so much for all your support. We made it 500,000, which is pretty crazy, and we couldn't have done it without you guys. So thanks for supporting us. Thanks for supporting the sponsors. Thanks for supporting my small leatherworking business. All your support is what allows us to cut apart these $1,200 Yeezys to really find out that they are a really high quality sneaker, except for the zipper. So thank you guys. See ya.